Get ready for the next battle, ladies and gentlemen, say them numbers in between. My name is SPF Dark. We're coming at you live here at the CCA to bring you our second week of this league. Now, before I get too ahead of myself, though, I am joined by someone else here tonight.
Yes, thank you. Thank you to the fellow goober here. I'm Rose. Very excited to be here. I can't wait to see some Collegiate Splatoon. It's been a while since I've been able to do any commentary for Collegiate stuff. And we have one of the teams here is new to being on CCA. So that's really cool.
Most definitely, and I'm very excited for their debut here. For our matchup here tonight, we have OC Eagles hailing from the Oklahoma Christian University going against New Paltz Seahawks, the newbies in our league here, hailing from the sunny at New Paltz. It's very exciting to see any new teams whatsoever, because in past seasons, not to say that you don't get tired of seeing the same teams over and over again, but you want something fresh, some new blood here, and that's why I'm like really excited to see this match here tonight.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they end up bringing out. And the OC Eagles, of course, not our newer team here, but they said, they did tell us a little bit. They're feeling pretty good. They're also a little bit nervous, but they're still confident. They can still take this set. But we learned that 3 of them are actually pursuing degrees in game development, which is really cool.
Yeah, game development. It's such an interesting thing that I read this fact from them too, because the Circle of Miles slide on Splatoon that plays a good chunk of Splatoon anyways, they also are in game development as well. And it's this weird kind of thing, is that something that's actually more common here to the people who here at the CCA anyways who actually play high level competitive or high level on any level for this game? Because that's it feels like it's too consistent for it to not be a threat of trending here.
I feel like you're a game dev or you're an artist.
And you're so right on that. There's so many artists here too. I mean, it's a colorful game too. So at that end, it kind of tracks as to people, as artists and whatnot. But man, I put power to those who actually go through school and whatnot. And I'm just wow.
We love it. We love it. And, my spouse is also not a game developer, but he did, do a degree in both game dev and just software engineering. And I tried to get him into Splatoon. And, back in Splatoon 1, and he tried it. He was like, this is a really cool game. I don't think it's for me, but it's really cool.
Yeah. That's one thing I will say about this game was if you really kind of have to just stronghold push yourself through some of the first initial hurdles, because there really isn't another game like this game out there, with the controls, the push and pull of how the gameplay actually is, the objectives, and it's so out there, and it's such a hard thing to actually get into and to play at a proper high level too, which is why I have so much respect to people who actively play this game to this day, because me being the old man I am, I cannot keep up with half of these kids on the block nowadays, and it's just
I feel that. I'm like, okay guys, I'm still playing competitive, but I feel like my brain's lagging behind.
No, it is 100% the reason why I pivoted to being a full-time commentator these days, because my process of thinking is too slow at this point, and just the demand, it gives me a whole level of respect as time goes on, more and more respect to people who play these games, and man, it's time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and so we are in the second week of a league-style tournament over here at CCA. We're heading into our first game here. OC Eagles in the orange and New Paltz Seahawks over on the other side in the blue.
Ooh, one thing I'm already eyeing here, and some of the users who already know, is that I love me some blaster gaming, and the OC Eagles bringing out the custom blaster on their side. I'm very eager to see exactly how this will be used, because here on this map, blasters can actually get a good chunk of damage done here if you play your ledges, if you play your corners properly. And so I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on how this blaster can be initiating here, trying to go in for the fight here against the junior. Doesn't get the pick they want, just pivoting slowly, see exactly if they get anything out of this aggressiveness.
Oh, there's one one pick. Indigo pushing up over here has sort of gotten this corner of the plat, just trying to keep one of the players down. We do have a crab also out from OC Eagles, able to get multiple picks here, and they've got decent control of this map going in with this clam. Can Waffle manage to get in? Manage to throw it in. There goes the triple splashdown just to clear out some space. They've got another. They throw in. That's a sweet all the way down close to 50 points here, and they're not stopping just yet.
Yeah, very good momentum building up here for the OC Eagles as they're just keep this clam basket open. 45 points and counting. The Seahawks are struggling to keep control of their zone. Finally getting the 2 picks they needed to flush the Eagles out of their platform and just start getting this game back to a relative neutral state here. 45 points remaining off of that single push is not something to take lightly. You really have to put some respect to what they've been able to accomplish here. Now it's up to the Seahawks here to try and get something happening here, especially with Tactical Online, but 2 go down immediately. Make that 3. Blaster Gaming!
You're getting some good Blaster gameplay out of this. It looked like Seahawks were in a really good place to start their own push. They had so many clams compared to the Eagles, but this Blaster is just taking them down one by one.
Yeah, Blaster on this map can be such a menace if you probably know the full parameters of your weapon. And right here we see a triple splashdown. I would not be surprised by Psyche. And we do see it get used here, taking one down with it before they finally go down. A proper wipeout here for the OC Eagles, meaning the Seahawks has finally the opportunity to just push up mid and get something, any kind of hold here as we head into the next 3 minutes of this game.
Yeah, the Seahawks have 2 specials online right now. They're going to go ahead and use their Wave Breaker. They've got Zuka online. They've got a lot of clams at their disposal. Shello just trying to stay alive here, manages to get a pick. They're going to have to start going in, but that Hydra Splatling is just like, sorry, I can see all of you from where you are, and I can stop all of you in your tracks if you don't make me move. But Zuka is like, get out of here.
Yeah, that Zuka is the special that is known to be the backline slayer, and it's able to get that Hydra out of there from breaking it from its absolute wall of defense here, as now the Eagles are finally on the back of here. The Seahawks trying to push up to get any momentum going on their side, see if they get any points scored here, using the ink strikes to clear some space, but no, this Blaster is just going on the aggressive, just pushing them back in the back, and now the Eagles, they managed to fend off that push here as this game has reset back to a neutral state once again.
Yeah, they're trying to make something happen with the Zuka. Able to take out one, but Jingles is still there. Still trying to stay alive, but going down, had too much damage. That's 3 people down on the OC Eagles. Seahawks have to get in there right now. They've got 2 power claims, so one person's going to go down. Spores trying to clear out some space here. They're able to get some picks. They've really got to throw it in. They've got 1, but can they get enough going to get back this lead with less than a minute and a half to go?
With the jump in, that will definitely help. 37 points remaining versus the 22 points remaining from the Eagles. A wipeout is unfortunately beholden to the Seahawks, as now the Eagles are going to be running up to try and reclaim space as we head to the final minute of this game. The wide gap between these 2 teams has suddenly narrowed down as these final moments, as the Blaster tries to make a breakaway to get that power climb into the basket, but no, unfortunately misses at that power climb. Is going to go and despawn as we head into a proper reset here.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty tough for Seahawks. They've got to get a bunch more clams ready. The Eagles have a really nice dominance on their clams right now. They've got that cooler going out. If they just play aggressive, they don't even need to score here. They've got this lead, but the pressure is going to be on the Seahawks. They had a really good single push in that last push. They just need to make one more good push happen. But unfortunately, it looks like Eagles are going to score that power clam right now. And if they can keep this going for less than 20 seconds, or maybe just knock it out right here, and they're going to take that game 1, going all the way to a knockout.
A good opening game here tonight, folks. Both of these 2 teams showing what they're made out of on the right out the gate. The Eagles had a wonderful opening gambit there on their end, taking it all the way down to 45 points in a single push, but the Seahawks didn't back down. They managed to almost just match them at the very end. They're closing the wide point diversity between the 2, and man, oh man, I'm very excited for the remainder of this set.
Yeah, like they got about 70 points in a single push. Like that's huge. It was just the Eagles had such a good opening, and even when things got really close there, they were able to keep up the momentum at the end and just keep control. That wipeout on the Seahawks side towards like with about a minute to go, just I think really was disastrous. It's really hard to come back from that with only a minute left.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate thing to happen there at that final moments there, because it really was what sold the game for them, unfortunately to say, though. But man, oh man, one game down. We still have a few more to go, folks. So this isn't over yet for either side as we head to game number 2, Umami Ruins Splat Zones. And I'm going to say something controversial here. I absolutely love this map mode.
I love it when I win on it, and I hate it when I lose on
it. It's so funny because I hear people always say their distaste about this map mode specifically, this map overall, anyways. But it's like the thing what I like about this map mode specifically is the fact that it's a two zone splat zone map, meaning that you have two different zones you have to actually try and cover and take control of in order to try and actually get things going, which, believe it or not, actually like makes a lot of more like interesting dynamics and interesting encounters between the two teams, and just shows off, in my own opinion anyway, it shows off a better use of skill to try and keep a hold of those two. But I know there's people out there who find it frustrating trying to have to constantly flip and forth between the two zones.
It is frustrating, but I think that's really testing team coordination, because if you're not communicating like, hey, like I'm getting left, like you need to go get right. It is so easy to be like, okay, we keep neutralizing, but we haven't actually been able to capture both zones at the same time. And there will be long stretches sometimes where things are just neutral because you have, one team's got a stronghold on one side and the other team's got a stronghold on the other side. And you're just both like yelling at your teammates, being like, guys, help, you need to get the other zone.
Yeah, with two zone maps, not specifically Umami Ruins, anyways, but with two zone maps overall, I find it's so easy to just not score any points because there's either one player from the enemy team constantly like painting out the other zone whenever you try and repaint it over, or I see this a lot sometimes happen too, but like you get a full clear in mid and you actually go up to push and keep the enemy team back, but the second zone wasn't fully captured, but no one's painting the zone, so it just kind of sits there uncaptured. There's so many points you could have had that just doesn't end up getting taken. It's like, what? How does this happen?
Yeah, it can be so stressful when you're playing. It's like, especially in solo queue where you can't talk to teammates.
Yeah,
oh
my god.
Where? Please paint the other zone.
God forbid you're a backline too who gets put on painting duty.
Yeah, but I feel like, if we might see some really aggressive plays here. I'm also wondering if we're going to stick with that Dapples player, or if they're going to switch to Tetras this time. I love that personally a lot.
It's a completely new weapon comp for the Eagles here. Two dualies, a different blaster, a different backline, while the Seahawks didn't change too much on their end, only really bring out the heavy edit as well as a different shooter. I forget what shooter they had in the last game, but already the Seahawks are down one player. The Eagles has this opening gambit for them in their favor as they get at least a few points on the board.
Yeah, we see a lot of paint, especially from Seahawks, but still, like, not a bad amount of paint from the side of the Eagles. But I think we're really going to have to see, like, the Eagles are going to have to be taking picks and moving forward, not able to get a kill off of that Reef Slider, but able to do that nice, sick 70 damage and paint. And if they just keep momentum here, we could see some more points on the board, but it looks like Seahawks are in control right now. And we don't see a lot of players moving up too much. It's kind of just going back and forth. But with two players down on Seahawks, this is time for Eagles to move up.
Most definitely. I will say I think Eagles has a more aggressive comp here to try and keep and hoping that they can get the picks, enough picks to just make sure that the Seahawks don't have the opportunity to paint, because Seahawks has such a better painting weapon comp on their side. So it's really Eagles' job to make sure that they get the picks they need to keep them back. And we see already the S-Pass gets that one pick under the ledge. Can they get another? Trying to zone them out, see exactly who's going to fall victim to their next one. And 2 goes down once again to this S-Pass as another player goes down. The Eagles are looking good here.
That is absolutely a fun place to be on that S-Blast, just saying, like, you're not safe on your dome.
Ooh, S-Blast Gaming here, folks. As the Eagles do unfortunately lose one, this could be the shift that the Seahawks want to see here as they use their tri-strikes to contest the zone. Another player down for the Eagles, and it's a neutral save for both sides. Both of these two teams are desperately trying to get the zone over one another, but with the tactical online, the Eagles are going to choose to retreat a bit as the Seahawks take control over mid and get through those penalty points.
Force pushing up here, but there were 2 people over in that pit, just not able to make a whole lot happen there. That booyah being thrown at that crab, and Eagles able to get a wipeout, and they are recapping the zone. They've got a fair amount of penalty points they're gonna have to wait through before they can score, but those count down faster than you might realize. And Indigo's here just in their base, just chipping people constantly.
A good distraction, even if you don't get any picks out of a push like that, because already, as you mentioned earlier, these penalty points go away faster than you think, and the Eagles are pretty much practically done with their own penalty points, so the Seahawks has to make something happen here if they wish to contest the zone before the game slips away from them. Stopping at 25 points remaining here, it's going to be battle for that left side zone here. Crab specials being used left and right. Crab take, ink strike. We have the smash down at the ready. It's constant flippage between these 2 zones, folks, and I have no idea who's ahead at this current moment.
Yeah, the 3 people down on the side of Seahawks, things went back and forth constantly there, but the Eagles were able to come up on top there out of that push. The Seahawks did cap the zone just for a moment to buy them a little time, but yet again, these penalty points are almost completely through, and with Eagles all the way down to 25, they don't have to wait that much longer to knock out. Seahawks are going to have to get in there, but they've got specials at the ready.
Most definitely Eagles. The cards are in Eagles' hands right now, as they don't need to actually be super aggressive here if they want to try and win this game out. They can just play the slow and steady game and just slowly pick off the Eagles 1-by-1 or the Seahawks 1-by-1, and they will be sitting pretty here. But no, the Eagles are holding their ground, standing strong against the Seahawks as they're pushing up. 4 points remaining for the Eagles as we enter the final minute, but there's 2 players down for Seahawks. It's a 2-for-2 on each side, but no, the Eagles do manage to get control and take game number 2.
Game number 2 in the bag. Just Seahawks not able to get that paint on the zone desperately enough to give themselves another shot to stay in this zones match. But yeah, like we were talking, some umami zones kind of just have times where just the zones keep flipping back and forth and people are getting picks, but like when everybody goes down, sometimes it's like, oh well, we all died. So
it's just absolute chaos, and I love it every single time I see it. And man, oh man, both these 2 teams just showed exactly how chaotic this map can be. I mean, there's so many, like right here in this replay, it wasn't even the exact moment we were talking about, but there's so many specials being used here that leads to this.
Clutch!
Oh man.
Oh, that booyah bomb behind the enemy lines was so good. I love booyahs that are placed just so that like people start running away and then they end up running into the booyah bomb.
Yeah. I mean, booyah bomb is my personal favorite special of the entire franchise, so I will always be happy to see it succeed in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah, really good placement here we saw from especially that special over on the Eagles side. I wouldn't count out the Seahawks just yet. We might see, I wonder if they're going to do a little bit of a comp change up going forward. We definitely saw that was a very shooter heavy comp they were playing. Not too surprising on a zones game where we have a lot of paint, often being very important for the objective itself, but maybe we'll see something different. Sometimes it's hard, like especially if you are new to being streamed, like the nerves just be like, oh my gosh, people are watching. Like we've been there.
Yeah, I will say that is also another important factor for them, for the Seahawks, because this is their debut, and not only in the league but also being streamed. So you definitely have all that pressure on you for your first stream.
Yeah, because like it's always good practice no matter what, and we saw things happening. We saw things happening. So, I'm rooting for them to get a game pick off of the Eagles. I think it could absolutely happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we are in a best of 7, first to 4. So there, a 2-0. In most other scenarios, you would be panicking, but no, you still have a good chunk of breathing room here to try and get something going. The Eagles have the momentum going here to try and want to keep the Seahawks down, but the Seahawks have time on their hand. They don't need to. They have extra time to be like, okay, to really break down what's going on. What do they need to fix? What can we do better? What do we just need to not worry too much about? Is there a certain player that they don't really need to stress about? Like these kinds of questions, especially in these longer sets, you have time. Do not stress too much about it.
Yeah, that is the nice thing about these longer league games. You can learn week to week and also even within the own set itself. Moving on to Mako Mart, we
Ooh.
do have a bit of a comp change up on both sides here. We still have Indigo on a blaster, but we got that custom range blaster now.
Ooh, custom range blaster is a very coveted weapon, but it's hard to actually properly use in most scenarios simply because of just how the weapon lineup is on most cases. But here, if you know exactly what you're doing, you can absolutely get away with using that weapon. 2-3 down from the Seahawks means the Eagles has this opening push here already at that first checkpoint.
Yes, they're able to get what looks to be about a pretty free initial checkpoint. It's always really tough going from this first to second checkpoint, though.
Mm-hmm.
It is really obnoxious to get through this area, and we already see that blaster going down on the side of the Eagles. But here comes the triple splashdown. Leo able to get a pick, but does get taken off back by the other blaster on Seahawks time. And now we have the inkjet coming out. Can they make something happen? No, they're taken out, and that is 2 down on the side of Seahawks.
Ooh, shut down by the pencil, and the Eagles keeps our momentum going. The Seahawks are absolutely drowning here as he kept getting picked one by one, but now the range blaster and the dualies are down, meaning the Eagles are at the back foot for the first time here this game. Seahawks are wanting to try and push up here. Maybe a crab battle here on the right side, but no, nothing too much happens from it, and we see an unfortunate pick. 2 picks go out. It's a utter clutch.
It's just the juniors not able to keep that alive, and that means they are going to lose that bubble. I believe they were not coolered, so they're going to lose that really key special for holding space. Waffle just doing everything they can to stay alive, but no, not able to. And yet, still, the end of this push is not over yet. Indigo over in this Kraken, chasing Spore down, able to get that pick there, and they're just sort of holding this tower in that position there, not able to get to the second checkpoint, but able to at least keep the tower in an aggressive position.
Mm-hmm. What most people don't actually think too much about is at the tower. Even if it's not moving, it's still very much a good thing to keep it as far forward as you can have it. And so, even though the Eagles haven't been able to break through the second checkpoint yet, haven't gone anywhere past that 34-point remaining yet, they're still keeping it so far forward that the Seahawks just haven't been able to properly regroup and properly try and figure out how to break through their offense here. And now Seahawks are still struggling to break through that, even though the tower is now back in mid. A bit further back than we're used to, but now we see this specials being used left and right. Inkjet coming out, the tactical are online, crab take coming out, so many specials going out at once.
There's so many people. I was earlier watching that. We saw the jump come in. We just see Eagles being like, "Hello, Seahawks member jumping in." Oh crap, you're on a dually.
Oh,
really great to watch that happen, but able to get a pick on Waffle. This might be a good chance for Seahawks to start moving in, but there's just so much aggression on the side of the Eagles.
Mm-hmm. There's too much of an oppressing offensive power here that the Seahawks really having a hard time to try and break through. And it doesn't help either that we're actually seeing something I'm actually finally realizing here, that we're seeing Heavy Edit versus Pencil, a notoriously one-sided matchup here in favor for the Pencil, meaning that Heavy Edit has a hard time actually trying to get any pushing power going, especially with the running of the team. And we see Seahawks showing exactly why that matchup is notoriously bad for that weapon. S3 goes down with the Seahawks. The Eagles are holding strong here in mid.
Yeah, really tough to break through mid here, but we do have duels down on the side of OC Eagles. Waffle still pushing this though. Gonna go down from that bomb. Shello trying to make something happen, taking this left stack, but just trying to be able to control space here. They've been getting a lot of paint down, but just like the aggression from the Eagles and yeah, playing Edit into a Pencil can be so difficult. You just do not have that range advantage, and if you're not aware of the angles and how to coordinate with that team to move that Pencil, sometimes it is so annoying to be like, oh, somebody please place the Pencil. I can't move up.
Yeah, trying to find someone who's just barely out of your reach is never fun to play against, and breaking a barely out of reach. We're now at the final 20-second mark here. The Eagles are finally in the back foot as the Seahawks are at that first checkpoint. Eagles getting picked off one by one. They're staggering a little bit in these crucial final moments of this game. We most likely will be going into overtime as we see the bubbler being used on the tower as it moves closer to that second checkpoint. Can they break through that 34-point mark? It's the big question here as one goes down. It's a dive for the tower. No one was there to back it up. Eagles takes this game away from the Seahawks.
Oh my gosh, I was so close to getting that overtime win, but yeah, Eagles just said, no, I got this. I'm gonna quick get a pick and jump on. There's nobody else on the tower. Oh yeah, really great job from Seahawks making that push happen at the end. It unfortunately did not pan out into a win, but we did see like, oh, okay, we've got the Eagles panicking now. We can push forward now.
Yeah, what I really like about the Seahawks is how once they actually get those one or two like staggered picks off of the Eagles, they really can get their ball going, and they show that they are at equal with the Seahawks. It's just the unfortunate thing is that Eagles are just playing a bit of a more coordinated, bit of more just so overly impressive, aggressive game that they can't really have no breathing room to actually properly regroup and recoordinate. But I have still faith in the Seahawks, even though the Eagles are currently at match point.
Yeah, Eagles only need to have one more game to win this, so you can sort of like relieve some of the pressure to know that, okay, if we lose the next one, it's okay. We've still got several chances. We're going to remain at match point for a while here. And if you're on the Seahawks, you're going, oh, okay, we got to make something happen here. But I don't know, maybe we'll see some momentum going into the next game, because that really was a great overtime push.
Mm-hmm.
So close to taking that back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the entertainer in me was hoping that they would get that overtime win simply just because of the story that would be behind it, and it could have been the start of something new, but that's not how the reality came out to be. And it's up to you whether you say it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm supposed to be non-biased here, so I'll take that, leave it as that. But we are sitting at match point 3-0, and all I'm seeing here is the reverse sweep of the century. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my god. Yeah, as commentators, we always love going to like full number of games. Like I'm not biased in that I would love to see each team keep winning until we get to the very end, and there's a tiebreaker. Yeah, we're moving into Rainmaker, which will. If the Seahawks are able to take this game, we will then start moving into repeating modes. But we've got our last new mode here going into a Rainmaker game. We'll see what happens. Rainmaker can be a really, really aggressive, quick one, and we've seen the Eagles play really aggressively. So we'll see. But when the Seahawks were able to take advantage there towards the end of that last game, they really moved in. So yeah, I don't know, reverse sweep of the century, maybe.
I'm hoping that we get to see that here, but I will make a confession, folks. I have no idea what this mode looks like on this map. I've never played this mode on this map before, and I genuinely have no idea what to expect here. Because usually I have like some insight as to like what might be some good holds that we might be some from both of the teams. What might be some points of interest to keep in mind here. I am going in blind here.
It's a treat. It's a treat. I don't like playing on it. It's a treat.
I do know the common sentiment is that no one likes playing this map.
That is definitely true. I will say that Rainmaker on Marlin is not a popular choice, but we'll see. I think this is really going to benefit anybody who plays aggressively. We've got a Wellstring out now over on the side of the Seahawks, which is great object damage, and that's going to be able to give them a lot of location info, which maybe that's what Seahawks really needs.
Yeah, I'm very eager to see this Wellspring be put into action, but unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to see that quite yet, as they did get, unfortunately, instantly popped by the Eagles, as they're now already at that first checkpoint. Didn't dunk! What a save here from the Seahawks, but I think they only delayed the inevitable here, as they do get that dunk on the second attempt.
They did. Yeah, it was good job just buying some time here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it looks like just the Eagles have been actually, despite the popping power on the Wellstring over on the Seahawks side, the Eagles have been doing a really good job, I think, of just all attacking the Rainmaker at the same time. But here, that is the toughest part on this map on Rainmaker, to get up that section. If you're going that path, you're just like, I'm walking slowly. I'm making my way downtown, not very quickly.
I'm starting to see why people don't like this map, because I would not like playing this map either. But man, oh man, that's gonna be such a tight hold to push through here, and maybe even an unfortunate thing to try and get the Rainmaker out of here, as the Eagles are unfortunately just gonna be sitting here in mid, waiting it out, see exactly what mistakes Seahawks are be making first as they go in. Oh, I almost saw that fall. I almost saw that fall, by the way.
Oh no! Oh no! Yeah, and Leo on the Dapples here, we saw earlier in the set from them. With the kit on here, you've got some beacons to get the rest of your team in really quickly, but it's still a very, very aggressive weapon, despite its kit being so supportive. And we see there's just a lot of great power being able to use from that crab tank, from the Hydra, to be able to attack from farther away. This blaster as well, able to get some nice picks. But finally, this Rainmaker's back in mid. We've got players going down on the side of Eagles. Seahawks has their tacticooler ready to go, able to take out that Hydra. But there is another player. They are getting marked, so that's going to be really helpful to know where they are.
As we see a true proper reset from both teams, tactical being used for the Seahawks means that they have the opportunity here to go on the aggressive without too many repercussions. Inkzuka being used to try and counter out that crab tank, as is unfortunately being forced to back up the Hydra, now trying to hold their ground on the checkpoint, and they do manage to drop the Rainmaker and force a few players back to the spawn, but no 3 down for the Eagles. This is madness here for this Rainmaker.
Shella playing that Wavebreaker here. This is a good time if they can get this dunk, but no, that blaster just able to finish off the job on the Wellstring. And we've got all 4 members up on the Eagles, and the best popper for the Rainmaker shield down on the Seahawks, and they're able to keep it there, which is huge, but just so many people are going down on the Seahawks side that it doesn't look like they're going to get this drop on that Rainmaker podium just yet.
I did see the breakaway vision there, but they did unfortunately get popped before anything could be drastically happened here. As now both of these 2 teams are just waiting out their special, see exactly who's gonna pop what first. Inkzuka comes out looking for that Hydra spatling. Can't they get the pick? No, they're looking to try and pivot to the Rainmaker instead, but no, they unfortunately missed that one too. Tactical online for the Eagles means that they have the aggressiveness ready here to potentially fight back against the Seahawks push here.
Yeah, Seahawks are going to have to pick up this Rainmaker. They've got about a minute to both get a dunk and push it forward to 35. But Leo going down here, but unfortunately 3 go down on the side of Seahawks. It is just the Wellstring here trying to keep them at bay, but they are facing down a crab tank and gonna go down both of them. We've just got trades going down on both sides, but nonetheless, the Eagles have been able to hold on to this mid area very successfully.
And now we're at the final 35 seconds of this game. There's a whopping 39, if my math is right, point differential between these two teams. Due down for the Seahawks means that the Eagles can pick up the Rainmaker and play whatever card they want. They can either go on their aggression and shove this Rainmaker far forward as they can, or they can stall it out here for these final 20 seconds. It is up to this Indigo's hand to try and decide what they want to do, and they do decide to force it up forward and potentially buy them a little bit of extra time and prevent an overtime scenario here.
Oh, but going down here, it's gonna be really tough. They gotta pop this and pick it up immediately. But no, the Eagles are saying no. We're putting enough paint down. It's fine. You can't pop the Rainmaker shield yet. And they're able to take that game 4, taking that match point. Eagles taking the set against the Seahawks.
I don't know the interaction of Ingzuka and the Rainmaker shield. If it would have been worth it to shoot the Rainmaker shield instead of shooting the players, to get that pop as fast as you can so you could have the opportunity to see a potential win in overtime or not.
Yeah, that is tough. You could always, if you have enough ink, you could throw a bomb at the Rainmaker shield and then pop special to start also firing at the shield. But we saw just the Eagles did a really good job of being able to pop the Rainmaker shield. And I don't know how much of that was maybe just their communication of when to attack the Rainmaker shield was maybe better coordinated. Maybe just things were not quite as coordinated on the Seahawks side, but that's always stuff you get better with practice. Great set from both of these teams.
Both these two teams did an extraordinarily well job today here. Unfortunately for the Seahawks, even though they do go down 0-4 against the Eagles, this is far from over for them just yet. There is still a lot more matches here in the coming weeks for them to try and make up this loss here. But here at the CCA, for those of you who don't know, we do have a special tradition here of a play all 7 for the sportsmanship. So we do have the final 3 games here of the set for you coming up here in just a second. But just so we're all aware, these will not be counting for either team for any points, any differential, and nothing. Do not count for nothing. They are just for the love of the game.
Yeah. I mean, we always love seeing more Splatoon and whatnot, so always really great to see the rest of the games being played. Eagles know they've got the set. And I mean, even when you lose the set, it's always great practice to be like, hey, can we play out? I've even done that for leading sets. When we've won, the other team has been like, do you mind if we play out the rest of the set? And I'm like, no, we can play out the rest of the set. Sounds good. If you guys just want, if you just want to treat this as a scrim now for the rest of the set, sure. We'll do it again and we'll rerun games as you want for practice and whatnot. It's great for on both sides.
Yeah. I mean, literally, this is your only opportunity to really get practice time on a official stream with people watching you. So if it's nerves that's getting to you, this is a good way for you to try actually get through those nerves and still play the game. If it's something that you need a workshop for the team, we don't have any access to your comms, so it's not like we know exactly what's going through your head. So you still have that leeway to absolutely say whatever it is you need to say to try and figure out this puzzle that either you completed or you didn't complete, depending on the endings of the set. And I love seeing it regardless.
Yeah, it's interesting that you call it a puzzle, because definitely that's stuff that a lot of the, figuring out what do we need to do at this moment, what is the current game state, working on things like game sense is really just a forever learning curve. And something that my team and I have been working on with our coach of trying to better understand, when do we push in, when do we fall back, where do we want to be, how do we better communicate together to figure out what to do. And that's always stuff that you get better with practice and review. And I mean, we got all these kids in college, we're all about a learning environment.
Yeah, learning environment. This genuinely, like I said before, this genuinely is the perfect learning environment to get through whatever missing puzzle piece it is for you to get through to be a successful team. But man, oh man, a weapon I've seen here already, which is an old beloved of mine, ballpoint. Adore that weapon so much.
Yes, and it's a really fun one on this map in
Hmm.
particular. I hate fighting ballpoints on Particle specifically. After once having to fight 3 of them at once on a streamed set, I was like, I will no. They're so good here.
Yeah. I mean, this is the duality of having a short range mode and a long range mode already is just a thing that you love to have no matter what. But just to have the inkjet here to be able to like play that long distance, to have like these, there's just so many tools that the ballpoint has here. That's just it's just so it fits together like a lot easier than most people would think. But the unfortunate factor of the day is that pencil exists as a backline weapon, so we hardly ever get to see it.
Yeah, it's interesting because we got splatlings on both sides now between the
Hmm.
Hydra and the ballpoint. And, barnacle clams is so interesting. So we've had, no points scored so far, but we've seen a lot of picks go back and forth. And really, to push on this map, you really have to get the picks. Got to make sure we've got specials ready. Let's go get some picks and move up super fast on this very small map and start scoring in these clams and whatnot. So we're gonna just see a lot of aggression back and forth. And we've had a lot of clams on both sides here, and then just somebody goes down and it's like, oh, we lost our clams.
Yeah, this very well could be the tried and true Clamplet special where nothing happens for the majority of this game. And let's say that the Blaster gets 3-for-1 special as they unfortunately do get picked out immediately. And what could have been a good potential pushing start here for the Eagles, unfortunately just doesn't amount to anything even after that triple that they just had. And now the game's back to a neutral state once again. Both of these two teams are equally matched halfway through this game already.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. It's like, you get a triple. You get 3/4 of the team down, but the defense on Seahawks is strong enough that even though so many of them went down, just the last person alive was able to be like, no, I'm holding everybody back.
And yeah, as you mentioned earlier, the picks are very important here, and honestly, probably the other question is when and how you get those picks too, because you could get that triple like we saw earlier, but if you have that one player who's actually the one who's properly holding things down, those triple picks don't really amount to much of anything. And 3 minutes of this game, no clams have been scored. Nothing has happened in terms of the objective here as this blaster goes on the side lane here to try and poke someone out and get the pick, but no, they get picked in return.
Yeah, Waffles got their own power clam of their own now, but half of their team just went down. This Hydra's trying to make something happen with that Booyah Bomb, but these strikes come out and are just keeping the Eagles away from scoring any clams. We have a minute and a half to go, and nobody's been able to score. Both teams have been aggressive, but they've also been really defensive.
Man, a minute and a half remaining. Eagles down 2 players. This could be the Seahawks' chance to finally get a push going. The first push of this game. They do have the power clams at the ready, but the crab take comes out to try and stall them out, and they do get picked immediately. The Seahawks are forced to back up as they lose another player. The Eagles holding strong. 1 minute remaining of this game. We might see the true bona fide Clampett special of a 5-minute stall fest.
I know, and then it really comes down to, oh gosh, just somebody needs to score 1 power clam, and then we win the set, and then we win the game, and just, oh my gosh, but we've got 2 people down on the side of the Eagles. See, but the Booyah, just able to buy just a little bit of time. Shello not able to go in and score that, had to back off, and this Hydra's just holding the base down here.
This could be the opportunity to finally break through that defense. No, they do get picked and they do get the power glide into the basket. 30 seconds remaining. This is not the situation you want to be as the Eagles. As not only did they get the power glide, but they do score a decent chunk of change and they lose players in the process. This is not a good scenario for the Eagles.
No, they're gonna get a pity power claim of their own, but 3 people going down on the Eagles means they're gonna lose a lot of space here. Waffle had to hold this down, just try to get the rest of the Seahawks to back off and end their push. But this Hydra also getting taken down. The overtime's gonna go through faster than you think on this Clam Blitz game, and there's 3 people down. The Seahawks are holding down mid, not gonna let the Eagles go through. They score another power clam to end the game.
What was that? 4.5 minutes where both of these two teams were at each other's throats here at mid to get any momentum going, an inch off of the other to get anything happening here. And it wasn't until the final 30 seconds where we finally saw any scorage whatsoever. And that's Cambits for you. I got nothing else to add.
Oh my gosh, especially Barnacle Clam Blitz. I mean, and especially when both teams have, Tacticooler at the ready, you might be getting a lot of picks, but if people are coming back immediately from that pick, you've been able to secure map control, but you're not necessarily able to actually secure enough map control to go in right to enemy spawn to score that power clam. We saw Indigo got a lot of great picks, but just weren't able to actually play the objective off of those picks because Seahawks, even when going down 3 people, they were able to have 1 person alive just to stall them, to keep them in mid.
I think this replay here perfectly encapsulates the blaster experience of it being such a high risk, high reward weapon. Where here they missed a single shot. They missed 1 shot on that final player here, and it cost them that push. It's like that's just the perfect blaster experience shown to everyone's faces here. Like you can't explain it better than that.
Yeah, and we saw Indigo's been so aggressive this whole time, and we just saw, I think Seahawks are really now aware of like, okay, we've got this blaster player who keeps harassing us and taking us out. Maybe let's not stand so close together anymore, so we're not all getting like chipped at the same time together. And they're just able to have somebody alive to just hold it back, and I think that works really well on Barnacle Clans. Like we were saying, it's so hard to break through to finally score there, but they were able to just keep chipping away at space, and both teams were both so aggressive there. And then Seahawks, as soon as they saw the opportunity to move in, they did. They said, okay, now we've staggered them enough that now they're panicking and we can go in.
Yeah, Clam Blitz really is just the ultimate test of patience in this game, because you can have games like that where you literally need to be at your top game for that entire 5 minutes and not let anything go whatsoever, because it could very easily slip away from you here. And another thing that will also test that patience too is my favorite tidbit about how overtime works on this game mode, where if you hit overtime and there's no points scored, instead of being a normal 30-second timer for overtime, I believe it goes into another 5-minute overtime timer. So you will play a second Clam Blitz game on top of the first one you just got through playing.
Along with the overtime, like, horn blaring the whole time. It's so annoying.
Oh, Clam Blitz. People love it. People hate it. I really love it simply just for what it stands for, just being a true test of patience. But man, oh man, here, moving on from that long game, we're going into something that might be a bit more quicker with how lockout heavy it is as we head to game number 6.
Yes, moving on to Haggle Zones. We see once again we got a lot of paint over on the side of the Seahawks. We've still got Indigo on a blaster, just normal vanilla range blaster this time. Also, double dualies. We did see the Tetra and parry combo earlier in this set.
I don't remember how how much these two duelists played off of each other from the previous from the previous game we've seen, but they must have played each other off of each other a good chunk if they managed to win all 4 games without any issues here. But man, oh man, Eagles is having once again such a dominant hold over the Seahawks that they're struggling to actually push past the just sheer aggressiveness that some of the Eagles are showing here. Especially being used here from both sides to just maintain space or take control of space. But we see here on deep end, the blaster under the 10 gets 1, gets 2, looking for that 3rd.
They are Indigo still just doing a great job of holding this space here. It can be really difficult on the retake here. It's so difficult because you really do need to go in with your specials. Waffle able to stay alive. The really, really quick squid roll into a dually roll.
Now sitting at 30 points remaining, Eagles are locking this game up for the Seahawks. They had enough of the long game that they just went through and want to close this game out here and now. But the Seahawks managed to contest the zone and take 3 out and give them a hefty 66 penalty points on their turn.
Yeah, and if the Seahawks hold this for a long time, we could absolutely see them fly past 13. Unfortunately, Ancient is going to get cut short. Leo's moving in on these end pairs, maybe possibly going in on a flank, but it looks like Seahawks have called them out now. Oh, it was on the Tetra, not able to make use out of that reef slider in time, just took too much damage, able to survive being attacked before those invincibility frames come in. But the Eagles were able to recap, and Seahawks are gonna have to get their own push going again. Unfortunately, that ends up going down.
That is an unfortunate tactical used here by the Seahawks, as the Enzyme didn't actually get their own buff by throwing it down, and now it's going to be a little bit of a wasted special here, as they don't have the numbers to actually fully utilize tactical to its fullest. And once again, we see 1 player is down for each side. Those penalty points are almost as good as gone. We do see Wavebreaker on the point, but it's going to be amount to much of anything as we inch closer and closer to that 0 penalty points.
Yeah, Seahawks is so close to taking this back, but unfortunately ends up going down. It's definitely going to hurt their paint. Fortunately, that is the nice thing. If you have 3, I mean, honestly, Ballpoint's a good painter too. You have, a full team of strong painters. If somebody goes down, you could still paint it over. But Waffle on the end here uses that triple splashdown, able to get a pick and paint the zone at the same time. If they just keep going back and forth here, that is going to be in the Eagles' favor.
Mm-hmm. With how little time there is remaining and how little points Seahawks score each time they do manage to get control of the zone. This is Eagles' game to win here, as they have all the cards in their hand to just stall this out however they would like. Tactical are being used here to try and go on the aggressive, and they do get 1 pick on the right side. The duelies does go down, and now we're at 49 points remaining for the Seahawks. Can they manage to hold on to this long enough to actually break through that lead and potentially win this second game here for their side as we head to the final minute of this game?
Ooh, it's been in neutral for a little bit. We've got NZAP going down on the side of the Seahawks. Specials coming out. Eagles able to recap, adding enough penalty points that for Seahawks to take this back, which they could. They absolutely could, with 3 people going down the side of the Eagles. They're going to have to hold this for a significant hold. But this is huge. The Hydra going down. Eagles are getting staggered. This is a huge time for Seahawks to actually take this back now. Penalty points are almost through.
Yeah, penalty points are almost through here, and we do have a sneaky tri-strike under here, but no, they get called out and shut down by the range blaster, and 3 down for the Seahawks means that this zone might flip back to Eagles control here, as the Seahawks are going to be put into a delayed wipeout here. No, the junior manages to live and stay strong here, getting jumps to the raider of the team, but their team is getting shut down immediately on landing, and with Wavebreaker out, I don't think they have the pushing power here to try and contest the zone. It's going to be a last-ditch effort to take this game here.
Yeah, that is 10 seconds left to go. Eagles still holding this zone. We had a couple players down on Seahawks. They're spawning in now. Strikes are coming out. They were able to cap. But we see that yellow paint coming down now. The ballpoint is down. They need to have the painting power to hold this, but I don't know if they can. They don't. Eagles are able to take that back.
Man, that came down to the wire. The pressure was definitely starting to stack up on the Eagles as the Seahawks were finally getting their footing there and bring that. I wanted to let it be known here that end those final few moments of that game could have gone so much more differently. There was one player flanking from the Seahawks here, and they pulled the attention of both of the Eagles' team members here that they were able to manage to get this zone flip in the first place, but it's just how this whole played out. The reef slider there almost could have. Oh, there's too much there to actually fully analyze. I don't lost words right now. I need a second.
There really was so much going on there, and I really think towards the end there, Eagles able to get enough chip damage down, especially from Indigo's range blaster, even if they don't hit those directs. When you have, a team panicking because it's like we're in overtime, we've got to all be towards the zone together. And that range blaster really does have a lot of range on you, and just able to do enough chip damage on multiple players from the Seahawks at the same time that Seahawks just went down. There's too much happening right there, but it really was a really good contested zone there at the end. It could have gone either way if perhaps a couple things have been different. Maybe a couple other specials been at the ready. It really came down to the wire.
Yeah, I think the missing link at that final moment there, what could have been Inkjet, because they needed a bit more pressive power to try and fight back against the Eagles, who not only had Wavebreaker out, but they were also getting ready to use Reef Slider, which was a lot of dispersal on their side. And I think if they had Inkjet at the ready, that would have been a completely different story. But man, oh man, regardless of that outcome, that game was heated. Even though it looked like the Eagles were just wanting to close this game out as fast as they could. Seahawks, they stayed strong. They fought that to the very end.
They did. Oh my gosh. It was a close game there.
Oh man, and it goes to show that even though this scoring at the end of the day was 4-0 in favor of the Eagles, the Seahawks, they definitely have a lot of the tools at the ready to fight back and fight at this level against them. And it's hard to say exactly what could have gone wrong. Maybe it was just the fact that Eagles are better than them, or maybe it's just first time being on the stream and you just are completely off your game. We have no way knowing the true reality of it. But regardless of what the reality of it is, this is still a very entertaining game. And now heading to game number 7, I'm genuinely eager to see exactly what new tools both these two teams are going to be bringing out here.
I am excited to see what we're heading into. And there have been totally times with my own team, some nights we're like, oh my gosh, we are so in sync. And other nights we're like stepping on each other's toes. It is. Sometimes it's like, okay, this is just not the night. But we've seen some good plays from both teams here.
Ooh. Is that is okay? I thought those were the duelist coaches for a second. I saw the red duelist and I thought it was the duelist coaches for a second. I was gonna be very excited to talk about that weapon, but no, it's just Dapple duelists.
No, but we do have a different ballpoint on the field here over on the side of the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't remember what this ballpoint has. Vacuum.
It's got vacuum. Yeah, we really don't see it that often anymore. I love it. And 3 people go down to the side of the Eagles. This is a great time for Seahawks to start moving this tower over.
It's the Seahawks' turn to finally get the first push going as they get this tower moving past that first checkpoint. But the first checkpoint on this map generally just doesn't really mean anything since it's so close to the center here. So really, it's gonna be it's really gonna be up to how far you can push it past that first checkpoint, heading to the second checkpoint, and taking it down to 69 points remaining. It is a very decent push here, but now it's the Eagles' turn to get that points going on their end.
Yeah, we've got Tacticooler out on the side of the Eagles. I would not be surprised if we see this Dapples go in really aggressively. We've got the vacuum out from Jingles on the ballpoint Nuvo, just trying to stay alive here, but still got a lot of that indirect damage from both the blaster and also getting chipped by that Wellstring. Gonna go down. We've got bubble on the side of Seahawks ready, and also bubble coming out from the Eagles. But yeah, the thing about bubble is like if you've got a well string, they can shred that pretty fast. But there are
Hmm.
3 specials at the ready from the Seahawks. They've got a lot of advantage moving in, but unfortunately, Shello going down there on the tower.
Man, the Seahawks are, even though this set has been nothing but an uphill battle for them, they're still fighting to the very end here. This Will Spring trying to make sure that at least they can shut down one of their players from being able to actively contribute to this fight here in mid. But it is Eagles who actually stand their ground strong and get another pick in the process, forcing Seahawks to back up and just try and regroup and get ready for this incoming push from the Eagles.
Yeah, and we've got specials online again from the Eagles. Indigo's Blaster going and getting this Booyah ready. There were 3 people I saw the Seahawks together, but Booyah not sent their way. Ink Vacuum Shot sent out towards the tower, forced to back up a little, but with the power of the well string, able to take them out. And that's a bunch of players going down on both sides here. This tower is going to start retreating towards mid for Indigo to take it, and they're starting to inch forward back again, but that's not a huge point differential between both teams.
No, that is not 15 points between these two teams. They could still go either way to the very end. Tactical are being used on the Eagles so they can get ready and try and potentially, hopefully, push past this checkpoint once and for all. Especially with Booyah Bomb being stacked on top of that. Yeah, that's going to be taken without any issue whatsoever. As the Seahawks are struggling to just reconvene and struggling to get their footing back together as they're getting picked off one by one by one.
Shello able to take this back, putting a bubble on that tower. Unfortunately, gonna go down in a firefight. People going down on both sides here. It's been fun seeing the bubbles used on both sides here. Of course, we always have bubble for the tower, but we've also seen it used pretty aggressively sometimes. And that way, you get the bubble lasting longer. Because for anybody who doesn't know, your bubble will expire faster when put on tower. So it's always nice to also see it used really aggressively. And it's just been really back and forth here. Fortunately for the Eagles, they were able to get past that second checkpoint. So for this last minute or two, as long as they keep this going and keep having control of this mid area, especially Jingles, but gotta go down there. But yeah, Seahawks have to get a push going here. Eagles in a nice position where as long as they play aggressively enough to force the Seahawks to take riskier positions, Eagles could come back pretty quickly. But this well string and all their shots just able to keep chipping people on the Eagles has been huge for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I will say this in terms of both as an old player of this game as well as a relatively often spectator of this game. There's nothing more scarier than a good stringer. Because there's really nothing you can do about it. Because at least with Charger, you can see the laser aiming at you, so you have some leeway. It's like, oh, I gotta be careful here. With the Stringer, if they know how to properly arc their shots, you will just instantly perish out of nowhere. And this Will String has been putting in the work here. And even though it's unfortunate that they're on the losing side of this game here, final 10 seconds, this Will String has been nothing short but the MVP here.
They have been so aggressive. Unfortunately, it looks like Seahawks are going to have a really hard time getting on that tower to force an overtime. Just not able to swim up the side fast enough. And with 2 people from the Eagles already sitting pretty on that tower, it's going to be really, really tough to take that back. But, again, this is a close score here. It went back and forth a lot.
Yeah, these two teams, the one thing I always do not like that how not just like how Splatoon tournament scoring works, but how this scoring works in a gaming community overall. How it works is like you see something like a 4-0 or like a 6-1 or whatever. You think like, oh, they just got completely wiped off the floor, but no, there was some sets that they could have been completely wiped off the floor, or there's some sets where it literally came down to the final 5 seconds, only 1 point missing between both sides. It's just. I wish there's a way to say more information without utterly overloading what's on the screen.
Yeah, and it's really tough when you're looking at game stats without having actually watched the match if something's not streamed. You can just see 6-1. That seems like pretty one-sided. And it's like, well, yeah, we saw Eagles played very,
Mhm.
very well this set, but it doesn't tell the whole story. You know, we saw a lot of great pushes from the Seahawks. We saw them making things happen, and even though, you know, you see the score sort of give one story, you don't get that like full idea of exactly like how close some of these games were.
Yeah, and man, I can only hope to see Seahawks play once again as they make it onto their season. And I congratulate the Eagles about their victory today, and I hope that they can keep this momentum and keep on riding high. But with that being said and done, I believe that's to be it for us here on our blog tonight. So, before we start signing off, anything you want to add or say or plug in?
Yeah, again, for anybody who does not know me, I'm Rose of Battle. I stream plenty over on my Twitch channel. You can find me as Rose of Battle, as you see written down below and anywhere, whether it be Blue Sky, YouTube, Twitch as well. And yeah, I'll be streaming my team's own Ludi set tomorrow in 25 hours. What about you, Dark?
Well, you can find me at SPF_dark at most social media sites. I'm also a frequent commentator, so you'll probably hear my voice again here at CCA. You'll definitely hear my voice again as Platoon Tourney for an upcoming Ludi set tonight, as well as like other places like Under Pressure, Dapple Productions. I'm over the place. You'll hear my voice at least once a week. But with that being said and done, let's go ahead and wrap our block up. We'll be seeing you here again someday, hopefully. But don't go anywhere just yet because we have another game waiting for you. So stick around.
Awesome.